Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. We're continuing down 9 RIP on chapter 8 in Sena's route. She finally got to meet him and there's only 2 chapters left, so I'm wondering when they're going to work out a solution where they can be together, I guess. I mean, the only way they could be together is for her to die, right? Because if he which is not really a good ending, but if he crosses over, well then he's gone. There was an ending in Hibiki's route where he crossed over, and it was just him, you know, waiting until she dies to meet with him again, which is sweet and all, but there's just something sad about having to wait your entire life just to be reunited again. Anyway, I'm supposed to be probably doing a video other than 9RIP, but I'm just really into this route and I need to finish it. So I'll probably be doing at least the last 2 chapters before I even record Shelby's bonus episodes or another Christmas video, because the Christmas videos are so long. Anyway, since my miraculous reunion with Sena, I replayed the moments over and over again in my head, and my heart filled with joy each time. His confession that he had feelings for me carried more than just excitement. He said he was both troubled and happy. Hearing him say that to me only made me feel filled with a renewed resolve. I wanted to help Sena somehow. However, there was something else I had to do first. Oh, really? Return the necklace? The next day, I was off from school the next day, but I still got up early and quickly left my house to visit the Skooma shrine. The magatama I had received from the priest had turned black, and I went to apologize to him. I'm very sorry. I apologetically placed the magatama back in the priest's hand. The truth is, yesterday I met someone very special. Then after I met him, I looked at the magatama and it had become like this.
それは良かったですな。いや、渡してみたはいいが、会える確証はなかったのでほっとしました。
I'm certain it was all thanks to the stone. Thank you so much. After accepting my thanks, the priest gave me a small smile and a nod. You see, the thing is, I realize this is quite brazen of me to ask, but is there any way to restore its power?
おそらくだが、時間が経てば元の力を取り戻すじゃろう。多分。
How much time does it normally take?
それははっきりとはわからんでの。若き頃のわしなら、あるいはできたやもしれんが。
She wants to see him again. He must have been quite strong when he was younger. Even when I was a living ghost, the priest seemed to be able to sense me. His power was clearly the real deal. I guess that means we just have to wait, huh?
まあ、そう肩を落としなさんな。お嬢さんについている霊は今日も変わらず見守っておるぞ。
He just follows her around and watches her. And he's like listening to her all this time. I must see him again. Oh, you mean he's here right now? Seeing the priest nod in response, I began looking around me. I knew I shouldn't be able to see him, but I still found myself looking for Sena anyway. Seeing me look around like that, the priest let out a troubled sigh.
わしもめっきり年を取った。あまり期待せずに待っていなさい。
With that, he went and retrieved a ceremonial staff often used for exorcisms.
閣僚の神、憐れみたまえ、恵みたまえ、咲きみたま、串みたま、守りたまえ、先はえたまえ。
I was wondering how long that was going to go. I can't understand when they talk really long like that, so I'm just like, I don't understand the words. Oh my goodness.
きえんもえんなれば 写しを隔離を隔て途切れたその絵にしつながるよかしこみ申す。
Oh, can you imagine if Sena materialized in the living world as a ghost? That would be sweet. Then, after raising his voice, he suddenly stopped and strained his ears to listen.
なるほど。では確かに伝えるとしよう。
He said it so matter-of-factly. Ah, I see. All right. Really? Did you hear him? Did you hear Sena's voice?
しかと聞こえたぞ。こう言うておった。ミサちゃんの気持ちはありがたい。
Silence. That's it.
何やら他にも言うておるようだが、どうにも聞こえづらくての。最近耳が遠くなっておってな。いや、年は取りたくないもんじゃ。
It doesn't really seem like being hard of hearing would apply speaking with ghosts. Well, why not? I mean, if the ghost speaks and you have hearing loss, I would think so.
鏡とな。
Oh, Hibiki? A mirror?
鏡のところへとかすかに聞こえた気がするんだが。
If he really said mirror, then there was only one place I can think of that made sense. Thank you very much. With his prayer complete, I bowed deeply and began to run. Hey, if this whole episode is seeking out Sena, I'm okay with that, because her just going around to school doing everyday life with her sister and her friends kind of boring. One day, when the school was closed, I silently walked up the staircase filled with hope. I'm here. I stared at the large mirror on the landing. The mirror Sena mentioned, this has to be the one. I took a deep breath, swallowing hard, then spoke with a trembling voice. Sena. Hibiki? My words were laced with hope, a prayer, and I gently touched the mirror. Oh, should I go inside? I felt like I was touching the surface of water, my hands sunk into the mirror. Oh my goodness! You were pulled into his world! Instantly, my entire body was inside, swallowed by the mirror. The world flipped upside down, a strange sensation enveloped me. Can you talk to ghosts in here? That would be awesome. The scene that unfolded before me left me without words. Lit by a shining blue light, the floor danced in front of me. It was the same as the place where I had just been, but reversed. This is...
鏡の中の世界。
Yay, he's here.
写しよでもなく、隔離よでもない。すべてが反転した世界だよ。
That voice.
久しぶり、ミサちゃん。
So, why did you say goodbye? Why did you say sayonara if you were intended to see her again? He's like, farewell forever, just kidding, come to the mirror and you'll see me.
いい意味でも、悪い意味でも。また会えるとは思わなかったよ。
You never thought you'd see her again, except you just stalk her throughout the day. Sena, standing there staring back at me with a bitter smile on his face, was the one I was looking for.
参ったな。
Yeah, that's right, you better give up.
僕を忘れてって言ったでしょ。って、第一声から小言の一つも言ってやろうと思ってたのに。君とこうして直接会ったら、全部頭から吹っ飛んじゃったよ。
I feel the same way. There's so much I want to tell you, but I'm not sure how. It was proof that everything I'd felt and experienced these past few days wasn't a lie. Standing right in front of me with a faint smile was Sena, unchanged from when I last seen him. Holding back the tears that was welling up in my eyes, I deeply bowed to him. I'm so sorry, Sena. I had finally made it back to the real world only to come back and meet you here like this.
謝らなくていいんだよ。君に忘れてほしいって願う反面、僕も君に会いたいと願ってた。
Oh, he longed for her.
そんな僕の弱さが君を呼んでしまったんだろうから。
A self-depreciating smile took over his face before his eyes met mine.
一つ聞かせてくれる？どうして僕に会いに来たの？僕のことを忘れた方がずっと楽だったはずなのに。
It's too late for that. I've already decided I want to help you. I'm too worried about you becoming an evil spirit. I can't just stand by and do nothing.
つまりただ心配で来てくれたんだ。それはありがとう。
Sounds so disappointed. Maybe he's looking for the I love you words. I could tell that his words of gratitude were laced with disappointment. I know, right? Not knowing the reason for his displeasure, I merely blinked back at him. Why are you so upset?
だってそんな必死になって泣きそうな顔で来てくれたのに。
Wants to hear you've been longing for him too.
理由が心配だったからって。ちょっと残念だと思って。
Just tell
もっ
him.
と違う理由を期待するのいけないことかな。
At least he's being honest about it. Kuroha would just be like, never mind. No, the real reason. Is that how I truly feel? As he peered into my face, No save file, so we're gonna say, stop teasing me. Stop teasing me.
ごめんごめん。せっかく会えたんだから素直な気持ちを聞きたくて。
In an attempt to comfort me, Sena's hand reached towards my head. Sadly, his hand passed right through me, grasping air. No! Dang it! I wanted them to be able to touch too.
やっぱりダメか。ここならワンチャンあるかと思ってたんだけどな。
As Sena spoke, he reached out towards the staircase handrail. But just like with me, his hand passed right through it. Even in Hibiki's mirror world, he can't touch anything. Alright, back to the top. We're gonna say the real reason is we just wanted to see you. I'm sorry.
なんで謝るの？
Knowing I was defeated, Sena brought his face closer to mine.
何を悪いと思ったの？
He's gonna get close and whisper to you. His nose gently grazed against mine. We were close enough that our lips nearly touched. Oh man, he's teasing her.
悪いと思ったのなら本当の気持ち言えるよね。
I love it so much. I just wanted to see you. Under the immense pressure of the situation, I blurted out my true feelings.
ありがとう、ミサちゃん。
He's so cute.
というかごめんね。僕も久々に会えたのが嬉しくて、ちょっといじめすぎちゃった。
That's okay, I'm okay with this. In an attempt to comfort me, his hand reached towards my head. Sadly, his hand passed right through me, grasping air.
やっぱりダメか。ここならワンチャンあるかと思ってたんだけどな。
As Sena spoke, he reached out towards the staircase handrail, but just like with me, his hand passed right through it. Even in Hibiki's mirror world, he can't touch anything. You mentioned the world in the mirror earlier. What is it exactly?
そのままだよ。ここは響くんだけの世界。この世でもあの世でもない狭間。だから僕と君がこうしてお互いを認識することができるんだ。
Then Sena told me about the conversation he had with Hibiki.
鏡の世界？
はい。ここは僕だけの世界で、僕の許可がないと入れない特別な空間なんです。写しよでも隠りよでもない曖昧な世界なので、この中なら聖者と死者でも会えるんじゃないかなって。
大事な場所なんだよね。 本当に待ち合わせに使っていいの？
僕も迷ったんです。でも彼女すごく必死だったから会わせてあげたいって思ったんです。今のが僕の本心だって覚えておいてください。どうか気をつけて。
気をつけるって？
僕にです。ごめんなさい。不安にさせてしまうかもなんですけど、今から言うことをよく覚えておいてください。僕は彼女の聖者のぬくもりを感じてから自分の中にある欲が生まれてしまったんです。あのぬくもりをずっと感じていたいっていう。
Yes, Hibiki has a dark side of him.
もちろんその欲に抗うつもりでいるんですけど、もしかしたら彼女を襲うかもしれません。だからあまり長居はしないでください。どれくらい自分を抑えられるかわからないですから。
He felt my warmth. I couldn't remember touching Hibiki, and more than anything else, I can't imagine Hibiki attacking me. That's unthinkable. He was always so kind and friendly when we spoke before. You didn't feel the coldness on the mirror. That was Hibiki.
あの時とは状況が違うんだ。以前の君は生き量だったけど、今の君は生きている存在。
And he's attracted to the living.
僕たち死者がいくら望んでも決して手に入らないもの。ましてや響くんは僕よりはるかに長くこの地に縛られていた霊だから。永遠に続く暗闇の中で手の届く場所に灯った温かい光がどれだけ死者を狂わせると思う？
A shudder ran through me as I hurriedly looked around at my surroundings. And where is Hibiki now?
鏡の世界にいるのは確かだよ。ただできるだけ離れてくれてる。君を直接見てしまえば耐えられなくなるからって。
Just from seeing me. A chill ran down my spine as I worried about what could be behind me. In response, Sena flashed me a troubled smile.
脅すようなこと言ってごめんね。でも分かってほしかったんだ。聖者が死者の世界に触れることにどれだけのリスクがあるのかって。
Right, I understand.
でもとりあえずは安心して。僕たちが会話するぐらいの間は持つって言ってたから。それに何かあっても僕が守るよ。こう見えても鍛えてたから結構いい動きできるからね。
That's reassuring, thank you. In that case, I guess that means we don't have a lot of time to talk.
うん。本当はもっとリスクの少ない形で話ができればよかったんだけど、リスクを受け入れてでもどうしても君に伝えたいことがあって。
Okay, and thank you for doing all this for me. Sena smiled at my words.
とりあえず少し移動しようか。鏡からは離れた方が良さそうだし。
Sena nodded slightly before walking away, leading me deeper into the school. I knew there was nobody there, but I couldn't help but feel as though we were being watched. Filled with such an eerie sense of foreboding, I walked down the mirrored corridor. We stopped at the cafeteria, which was cast in a strange bluish glow.
いやー、なんていうか食欲がなくなる色だよね。
Agreed.
でもちょっと懐かしいな。学校に通ってた頃はここでよく紅葉とランチ食べてたし。
Oh, that's right. You said before that you graduated from here.
うん。 君からすると少しだけ先輩になるのかな。
Funny, I can't really picture you in high school, Sena. I feel like you were an idol from the time you were born or something.
まさか。当時はアイドルを夢見るだけのどこにでもいる高校生だったよ。
He must have felt like reminiscing because he sat down on a nearby chair as a small smile crept onto his face. His eyes narrowed as he began to speak. Story time. I believe we've touched on this before, about how I came to find my joy in singing in front of others. Toya was the one who suggested that I started uploading videos of me singing on social media. And as you can imagine, the first ones were terrible. The number of views were in the double digits. I was thrilled if the video reached 3. That's kind of how I feel with my videos. Most of mine are in the double digits, which I don't even care. As long as someone's watching it and enjoying it, I don't really care. My next life as a villainess is super popular, so it surprised me that it got a lot of views because that was the very first Otome game that I did, and I was like, it's an Otome game, who's gonna watch it? But I think its popularity contributed to the number of people watching it. And so I'm really excited about 9RIP because 9RIP has people, 100 plus views usually on each episode, which is more than my other videos. Probably just because it's new, and I don't think it's a remake of any Vita game, which is nice. Anyway, the comments were always about what a terrible dancer I was. Well, that's not good. Of course, every time I posted a new video, I thought about quitting, but when I would remember how much I enjoy singing for others, and so I kept going. I learned that even when you're bad at something, if you keep going, it will eventually take shape. Then I learned how to edit my videos. I started doing dance classes weekly. I did vocal training every day. The truth is, it wasn't something overnight success where the video started blowing up or anything like that. All I did was keep uploading videos every week for over 3 years. The going was slow, but eventually I started to get better reactions and comments. Before I knew it, singing and uploading my songs became a part of who I was. That's when it happened. I received a message from my agency that said they were interested in my singing. I didn't question it, I was just so happy. Happy that someone had seen me. Happy that I would have the chance to have even more people see me. I immediately responded with 2 messages, and from there my life changed. After joining the agency, I went through some really difficult times putting in my dues. I spent time as a backup dancer, and when I finally debuted, I had to fight to be in the center position. But I loved every minute of it. Being under the spotlight, seeing everyone's hands wave in unison. I had no doubt in my mind that moments like those would continue. Then before I knew it, people began talking about us as national level idols. We were going to do a nationwide tour, but then I collapsed. I wasn't sleeping much then, being on such a tight schedule. At first I thought I had merely overworked myself. I thought it would actually be a good opportunity to rest up and get ready for the tour. But the truth was much more cruel.
治らない。
心臓の病気で血液の循環が滞ってしまっていて。
待ってください。僕はもうステージに立てないんですか？
My body had been taken over by a disease. It was as though nothing could be done. From the day I found out, my health got worse and worse. When it was announced that I would begin treatment, the other members continued to work. I couldn't walk. I could barely even talk. Just looking at the well-wishing letters from my fans filled me with pain. All I can do was lay there staring up at the stars blurred by the city lights from the hospital bed. Then finally the day came. The last day of the tour. They had done the whole thing without me. I dully watched the whole thing live on TV from my hospital bed. I'll wait for Sena until he's well enough to return. Hearing my fellow band members say those words bathed in the sparkling spotlight, I dragged my supposedly immobile body from the hospital bed and escaped. then under the stars at Beachfront Park, as the multitude of fans watched the other members of S Crown on stage. I collapsed there on the grass without a soul to see me fall.
僕は誰だ？
My cheeks were hollow, my body emaciated. I couldn't sing, I couldn't dance. I wasn't the Sena that people knew anymore.
誰か答えて。
I lay there in the place where Koyo and I shared our dreams with one another.
僕を見て。
But nobody did. Then I drew my last breath. That's really sad. I know, like, I got chills reading that.
これで僕の物語はおしまい。誰にも話す気はなかったけど、君には知っておいてほしかった。
Can you imagine the person that found Sena dead in the park? Seeing Sena stare back at me so sadly, I couldn't find the words to express my feelings. All I can do was sob as I felt Sena futilely try to stroke my back with his hand.
ごめんね。泣かせる気はなかったんだ。
And I felt like I finally understood. Even though Sena had regained his memories, I understood why he wasn't able to cross over. Without a doubt. Sena, you still want to dream, don't you?
そう。この後に及んでいまだに。僕は夢を諦めきれていないんだ。
To be a top-class idol, to stand on stage again. To tour the country with his group, he couldn't do any of those things anymore. He was trapped in this world because of all those unfulfilled dreams. It was a future that was all but assured, a dream just within his grasp. He couldn't accept that all these things were suddenly taken away from him.
僕は夢を見ていたい。たとえ聖者でなくなっても。だからもう気にしないで。僕はまだしばらく幽霊としてとどまり続けるから。そんな顔しないで。僕は別に不幸なわけじゃないんだから。全部伝えたらすっきりした。こんなことなら最初から全部打ち明ければよかったね。
Seeing him stand up quickly, I knew it was Sena's way of telling me the conversation was over.
もう僕を追わないで。君は君の人生を生きるんだ。
But it wasn't just because she was worried about you. She said she wanted to see you. She has feelings for you.
そうでないと僕は心残りが増えちゃいそうだから。
You already have that regret. Sena's hand gently touched my cheek. Of course, I couldn't feel his touch. But still, I thought I felt the slightest warmth. Perhaps it was only my imagination.
もう僕のことは忘れて。
It's not enough for me to be apart from you. I have to forget you too.
その方が君のためだよ。
In response to his cruel words. Yeah, you mean it's better for you. I know, right? Hey, it's not as safe, so we're gonna say you mean it's better for you. Sena said he was doing this for my sake, but I know the truth is that he's just doing this for himself. I would always remember, I would always think about him. I would be just another chain that bound him to this place. You think that's possible? You really think I can just forget about you and go on living?
できるよ。どれだけ辛い思いも時がきっと風化させてくれる。というか忘れてくれないと。僕も怖いことを考えてしまうから。
Let's see if it picks up right there. Alright, there's no way I could forget about you. Impossible. If I could forget about you, I would have already. I spat the words back at him. But I can't do that. I'm always going to think about you. I looked for you. I searched.
それ以上言わないで。そんなことを聞いたら君への思いが溢れてしまう。君と共にある未来を願って。
Sena's hand, which had been touching my cheek, slid down until he wrapped his fingers around my neck and quietly twisted his lips.
君を殺してしまうかもしれない。
Dang, he's so possessive of her that he would kill her to be with her. Goodness. Just then, I felt eyes on my back. Sena and I quickly jumped back to our senses and I quickly turned around. What is it? I gotta finish what Sena was saying earlier.
というか忘れてくれないと。僕も怖いことを考えてしまうから。
Scary things.
そう。君の思いを感じたら、僕は君との日々を望んでしまう。
Sena's hand, which had been touching my cheek, slid down and touched her throat. Okay, that's why I needed to know where it met up. All right. Nobody was supposed to be there, yet I felt the stare of someone creeping ever closer to us. Is it Hibiki?
少しのんびりしすぎたかな。
Then that thing is...
響くんだよ。
You're being stopped by a ghost. So they went to grab my hand so we could make a run for it, but yeah, you can't grab her. His hand slipped through mine. For a moment, he looked terribly sad.
癖って抜けないよね。僕についてきて。
You might not be able to hold hands, but I know what you were trying to tell me. Just having you by my side makes me feel better.
ありがとう、ミサちゃん。
Also, in the ghost stories, they said that ghosts can't harm humans, like they can't touch them. So I'm curious to how Sena would kill her if he tried. I trailed behind Sena without straying too far as he started walking. Yay, finally his perspective. Feeling Hibiki's presence slowly approaching, we left the cafeteria quickly. As we ran down the halls, I occasionally looked back at her. What is it, Sena?
あ、うん。ちゃんとついてきてるかなと思って。
If Hibiki really did catch up to us, I was sure that something terrible would happen. And yet, despite all that, I felt my lips curling into a smile before I hastily tightened them down. Oh my goodness. He's like, Hibiki could help her into my world. Oh my goodness. His dark desires. I'm terrible. Being able to talk with Misa like this, being able to be seen by her like this, it makes me happy. After Misa woke up and returned to the world of the living, I went to see her every day. I even tried to talk to her. Of course my words never reached her. I would smile at her, but she couldn't see me. Whenever she seemed lost, there was nothing I could do to console her. All I could do was look on. But she didn't need words to tell me why she was lost. I already knew. She couldn't forget about me. When she screamed those words, her face had the same lost look I'd seen before. Ah, this is really bad. I can't believe I made her worry about me. I caused her such pain. I'd caused her sadness. But the fact that it made me happy filled me with fear. She thought about me, searched for me. It makes me love her even more. Misa, I don't want to let you go back. I did my best to shake those thoughts away. I want her to go back to the real world. I want her to let her find her own happy life. That feeling wasn't a lie. I just wasn't sure how much longer I could keep feeling that way. Oh my goodness. It's getting twisted. kind of reminds me of Giorno, where in one of the bed ends, he locks up Katerina so she would stay with him forever. And he gave her snacks and books to keep her occupied while he basically kept her as a prisoner. Hey, I'm okay with a dark side to one of these characters. Everything can't be all sweet and lovey-dovey, right? I looked to Sena's back to give me directions as we walked through the eerily quiet hallway. I turned around to look behind me many times, then I let out a small breath.
気をつけて。彼は耳がいいみたいだから。
Yeah, I know, right? That's all he had while he was trapped in the room was his hearing. You mean he could hear me?
うん。本人がそう言っていてね。些細な音でも聞こえてしまうって。
Must be terrifying to be stalked by a ghost with super hearing. I'd be careful. Following close behind Sena, I did my best to walk silently. I want to get out of here as soon as possible, but I know this will be the last time I could talk to Sena like this. I gently reached out my hand to touch his back, and of course my hand slipped through him. I knew that would happen, but just in case, I found myself reaching out for him over and over again. The mirror's gone. Eventually we arrived at the landing where the mirror was. I never knew this mirror world could exist so close to my own. We made it.
Shh. そのまま隠れて。
Sena seemed unsettled, and for a moment, I stared at the upper landing of the stairs. Then, suddenly a dark presence came rushing up from below the stairs.
落ち着いて。まだ僕たちは鏡には映ってない。
What does that mean?
音を拾われないように、ここで静かにやり過ごそう。
I couldn't even nod back to Sena. My body was frozen with fear. If I looked even one step down the stairs, waiting for me would be... As my body shook with terror, I heard a voice mutter from below the stairs.
いけないのに。どうしても、もう一度、触れたい。
The mirror's back in that one, so I'm so confused right now.
あと一度だけ。そうだ。一度くらいなら、いいよね。寂しさが、温まるくらいだけなら。
He wants to touch. I couldn't quite make out what he was saying, but... There's no mirror there. I'm so confused. Then I waved his hand in front of me, gesturing towards the corridor. It's okay, don't be afraid. Let's step away from here for now. Sensing such words in his gestures, we quietly left the place. Making sure there were no mirrors, I let out a sigh as we entered the classroom. My hands are still shaking. Resisting the urge to sit down, I asked Sena a question. Just how, below the stairs, that was Hibiki, right? Just now, sorry.
そうだね。声からすると間違いない。
The fact that he was in front of the mirror that is supposed to connect to the real world.
うん。君を返す気はないってことなんだと思う。
Why would Hibiki do that? I wrapped my arms around myself to try to stop shaking. I couldn't believe the shy Hibiki I met before would do something like that. Yet the eerie sound of his voice was enough to convince me. I never thought the story of the boy dragging people through the mirror was true, but then he merely shook his head with a thoughtful expression on his face.
響くん自身が言ってたけど、聖者を無理やりに引きずり込む力はないんだって。今回は君と僕、お互いに会いたいっていう願いがあった。うまく思いが引き合ったなら、聖者の君でも入ってこれるかもって話してたよ。
I see. It's what happened, so I guess it makes sense. Honestly, I didn't totally understand. Since I was able to come here, I guess that must be correct, but it's still a bit surprising. After I returned to the mortal realm, you and Hibiki kept in touch?
君、放課後に鏡に語りかけてたでしょ。 それを眺めている時によく二人で話をしてて。
So, does that mean you were watching me? Silence. Sena stopped suddenly. His eyes shifted back and forth and he began to fidget with his hands. Aw, he was blushing. I almost missed it. Eventually, he cracked a small smile.
ところで昨今の経済情勢だけど、
I changed the subject. Don't do that. Don't try to change the topic. In response to my continued questioning, Sena got even more flustered and began speaking incoherently. Wait, after I went back, you were watching me?
たまたまだよ。君のことが気になった時にたまに様子を見に行っただけ。
I mean, isn't that surprising? The priest said he was watching you. How often is a little bit?
一日に8時間くらい。
No more than. 8 hours a day. Every time you're awake.
もちろん自宅とかプライベートな空間には入ってないから。怖いとか気持ち悪いとか思わないで。
Sena pleaded with me, looking like he was going to cry. Seeing him like that cleared all of my fears away, and I nodded to him with a right smile. Of course I wouldn't think that about you. Besides, I was always thinking about you too, Sena. It's a little embarrassing for me to admit, but it actually makes me kind of happy.
え？嬉しい？監視されてたのか？
Yes, you can stalk me anytime. No, not like that. I mean, it's like you were watching over me. But it's not like I want you chasing me or spying on me, though. Seeing him turn bright red and shout, Sena's lips contorted into a grimace. He placed his finger over my lips.
シッ、騒いだら危ないよ。
Sorry.
ま、僕としては顔を真っ赤にした可愛い君を見られて得した気分なんだけどね。
I don't know if I read that right. I thought I read it as Sena was turning red and shouting, but I guess it was her.
こうしてすり抜けてなかったら唇で静かにさせるっていうのもありだったかもしれないけど。
I know, right? Like, I would really want to see that. But why? Why can't we have it? I think my favorite types of men in these games is people like Sena. Kuroha's really sweet and innocent and cute, but Sena, I don't know, I kind of like the possessive types.
こういうことを考えるたびどうしても思っちゃうんだ。君を元の世界になんて返さなきゃよかったって。
I know, what were you thinking? Sena.
ひょっとしたら響くんよりずっと僕の方が怖い相手かもしれないね。
Sena spoke with her sarcastic smile, but I think this one's a save. Oh, there's another one after that. At least this one's going to be longer. The last 2 episodes, they've been 40 to 50 minutes, and it's been disappointing. I'm not scared of you. So this is a save file. And we're gonna say, I feel the same way. I feel the same way.
同じ？
Sena looked at me doubtfully, but I nodded and spoke softly to him. I know I shouldn't think this way, but there are times when I wish I could go back to being a living ghost. Touching you, laughing with you, we were able to spend time together. Aww. You're really gonna make him kill you now. Like, don't say that. He's gonna turn out evil. Then his shoulders trembled. He opened and closed his mouth a few times, trying to say something. But in the end, he said nothing and just shook his head.
僕もどうかしてるな。嬉しいって思っちゃうなんて。ちょっと話を戻そうか。
I know, you're gonna cause him to snap in a minute. He exhaled lightly, a bitter smile still on his face.
君が鏡に問いかけてた時さ。僕も響くんと一緒に近くで見てたじゃない。
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was just you. Yes, were you in the mirror at the time?
うん。 響くんに入れてもらってね。そこで君の話をしてたんだけど、
Oh, her previous time, not this time. That makes sense.
あの時君が鏡に触れた瞬間、響くんは明らかに様子がおかしくなったんだ。
Ah. From this side of the mirror, I laid my hand on top of yours.
まさか聖者のぬくもりを感じられるなんて。なんて心地いいんだろう。
Began laughing. It was as though something in him went mad.
響くん、
今のは少しぼーっとしちゃって。
Warmth?
そこから先はさっきも言った通りだよ。君をこの世界に連れてくれば話ができるかもしれない。彼は僕にそう教えてくれたんだ。
Why did he act like that? Sena, I know it's wrong of me to think this, but do you think he brought up the possibility of us being able to talk here together as some kind of trap?
どうだろうね。彼を疑いたくはないけど。
Right, sorry, I shouldn't even have said it.
いや、意図はどうあれ、今彼がおかしいのは確かだよ。君の疑念は当然だと思う。
I nodded lightly in response to Sena's words and tilted my head in thought. But suppose he really did want to drag me into this world, what could Hibiki's goal be?
彼が口にしていた言葉通りなら、おそらく君のぬくもりだろうね。僕なんかよりはるかに長い間、人とも霊とも遠ざかっていた彼には、君に触れたぬくもりが鮮烈すぎた。だから君をこの世界に捉えたい。たとえ君がそれで死んでもね。
If I were to die, my warmth would be gone forever.
響くんの考えは異常だけど、僕には彼を責める資格なんてない。
I know, right? You want the same thing.
だって僕も少なからず君を元の世界に戻したくないっていう思いを持ってるから。
Couldn't bring myself to say it wasn't true. And his face was full of sadness, and yet he refused to look away from me.
君と共にいたいって気持ちは僕の中でどんどん膨れ上がってる。自分でも制御できないぐらい。だから僕がおかしければ君は迷わず僕からも逃げて、そして来た時のようにうつしおへ戻るんだ。
It wasn't a question, it wasn't a request. It was merely an affirmation of what needed to be done.
僕の人生は夢を叶えるのに必死で、他のものは後回しだったからさ。君に会って、君に惹かれて、恋をしたのは初めてだった。だからなのか、執着心がすごくてさ、自分でも引いちゃうくらい。うつしおに戻った後、一つだけ許してほしいことがあるんだ。君の様子をたまに見に行くこと。君にとっては気持ち悪いかもだけど。
Then spoke to me with a gentle look on his face, but I cast my gaze to the floor. That isn't fair, Sena. I don't get to touch you. I don't even get to look at you.
紅葉にも言われたよ。案外ちゃっかりしてるなって。
Sena gave a little chuckle and then checked our surroundings again.
そのためにはまず響くんの目をかいくぐって外に出ないとだね。
When I heard him say that, this is the last one. Don't want to go back. Alright, that is the right choice. First we're gonna say I guess I have to go back. I understand. I didn't want to ignore his wishes, so I put a lid on my own feelings and nodded with one thought on my mind. After I live my life and die, then can I stay by your side? I knew it was a selfish wish, asking him to stay here to not cross over until my death.
約束する。
Aw. See, I was just talking about this earlier in the episode, that he has to wait, she has to wait her entire life to be with him again when when one person's dead and one person's alive. That's why I'm okay with the death endings in this game. Sena spoke to me with a smile that emanated from the bottom of his heart. Just then, Sena covered my mouth with his hand, which caused me to suddenly stop. Felt my fears rising with his stern expression. Could it be? Stay here. He whispered in my ear and I nodded. Okay, I think we were safe to go back now. Don't want to go back. I knew I had to get out of this dangerous place, and yet I knew that if I returned back to my world, I wouldn't be able to talk with Sena again. I want to be with Sena.
そんな顔しないでよ。理性を保てなくなる。
Say it! Tell him! I'm sorry. Just then. No, dang it. No! I want you to tell him. Then I covered my mouth with his hand, which caused me to suddenly stop. I felt my fears rising with his stern expression. Could it be? Stay here, he whispered in my ear, and I nodded. Then Sena left the room. From the hall I heard the two of them talking. Oh, really?
セナさん、彼女はどこですか？
Here's the girl. Show her to me. Well, those two choices went by really quickly, so maybe this is only going to be an hour, and it's probably going to be a cliffhanger. Dang it.
そろそろ帰ってもらおうと思って探してたんですけど見つからなくて。
No, also I don't have a CG. I can't end without that. His voice sounded the same. It was like the Hibiki I talked to before. Yet it seemed almost too calm, which only made me feel even more scared.
遅くなると困るからね。もう先に帰ってもらったんだ。
Uh-oh.
会う機会を作ってくれてありがとう。感謝してるよ、響くん。
I have a feeling he's going to attack her. The silence hurt my ears. And Hibiki knows when someone's lying too. The fact that I couldn't see his face only made it more frightening. I had no idea how Hibiki had taken the answer Sena had given him.
僕もそろそろうつしおに帰るよ。公園にファンの子たちが会いに来てくれてるかもしれないからね。ああ、そうだ。ついでに、響くんも公園まで散歩しようよ。引きこもりなのは知ってるけど、知り合いと一緒なら安心でしょ。お礼に歌も聴かせたいし。
Aw, Hibiki likes his songs too. Sena. He was doing an excellent job of trying to pull Hibiki away from me. I gulped and prepared myself to leave at any moment. Still, I was scared by the prospect of trying to flee here by myself. At the same time, I didn't want to waste the chance Sena had made for me.
そうですね。それはとても魅力的な誘いです。
I think he's just going along with
で
it.
も、残念ながらお断りします。気になることがありますから。
Like the girl in the classroom.
彼女、そこにいますよね。
See, I knew it. Slowly, ever so slowly, slender fingers began sliding through the door. 5 fingers, then a wrist, then an arm. Finally, long black hair and a slumped head. What? Entering the door in that order, I found myself frozen in complete and total terror. Long black hair? He doesn't have long black hair, does he? With only his hands and neck peeking through the door, he turned slowly to face me. He's so creepy, man. He was like this in his route too, but only on a couple occasions.
見つけた。
His hair is totally not long. Do not leave off there. I need a CG. Oh my goodness, dang it. What is this in his route and not having any CGs? No wonder I couldn't use like the ending credit stuff for Sena's thumbnails. I had this thought that I can watch the ending credits and the CGs display in this like really pretty circle, almost like a frame. And I was going to use that for my CGs going forward. But when I watched Senna's ending credits, there was hardly any. There was like 3 or 4, and I'm like, I can't make up the other half because that's boring. But now I understand why, because there isn't any. I have to do another chapter CG, I guess, which is boring. Man, Senna got the short end of the CG list, didn't he? Like, his chapters are short. He has he has half as many CGs. Well, whatever. Anyway, enough of me complaining. I'm really curious about how chapter 9 is going to go because Senna really wants her to stay. And she's pushing him to the breaking point of making sure that happens. So I'm really intrigued with it now. Anyway, if you guys did enjoy, drop a like down below and or subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.